Welcome you guys to the Human Experience. As you most likely know, my name is Bree and I am here with Jake today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. We are talking today about overcoming adversity, and so I have reached out to Jake to come and have a kōrero with me. I think it's best to start with you introducing who you are and what you do, and then we'll just roll from there.
Yeah, cool.
Sounds good.
My name is Jacob Vangana. I've been a personal trainer for the last 10 years, and I'm kind of in the transition of switching over to a motivation and lifestyle coach. So it's an interesting time for me, just learning more about a new industry and understanding more about myself and other people. I've got 3 kids as well, 11, 7, and 3 months. Yeah.
That's it.
Try to stay fit and healthy.
Cool.
Love people.
I love people too.
Great thing to love.
Here we are. It is a great thing to love. So recently you did a post on Facebook, and it caught my eye, and you were doing some reflecting, but also some looking forward as well. And it really inspired me enough, obviously, to reach out to you and say, would you come and have a chat with me? Can you tell me more about what prompted that post?
Yeah, I mean, the Facebook post, it wasn't supposed to be so much about the mental health or anything. It was more just an update for the people who I haven't seen in a long time. The people in my life that I have close to me now, I'm kind of more aware of where I'm at in my journey and stuff, but I haven't been on Facebook in a while, and I kind of just post every now and then, just check in, but I don't even have the app. So I thought I'd get back on social media and update everyone, and that
well, yes, you
did.
did.
Attention.
I did catch a bit of attention. What did I say? No, it was cool because I think it was just very real.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I recall about what you said was I identified that I've felt numb for a really long time, like even since I was a kid, almost without realizing that you felt numb.
Yeah.
So how did you come to the realization that that's how you felt?
That's a fun story, actually. I had the moment last year when I was with my partner and we were just out at the beach chilling out, and I realized something that I didn't know since I was a kid. And I've had this, so I remember when I was a kid, I was sitting in my room and I used to be a real crybaby child, like just spoiled brat. Anything happened, I'd be like, throw a foot, slam my door, go in the room, lock the doors.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, my parents split, and so every time I get in trouble, I'd curse my mom out and cry for my dad. And one time when that happened, I was sitting in my room crying, just screaming, having a tantrum, calling out to God, just like calling out, asking for help and just something. And I would do that regularly.
Ask for help.
Ask for help and just calling for my dad, like someone to save me, I guess, from getting in trouble. And it was such a small thing.
Wow.
Like anything could have triggered it. Anyways, this one time it was happening, and I was sitting in my bunk in my room with the door locked, just me.
Yeah.
Screaming out. And I had the thought that like God's not going to come to my rescue, my dad's not going to come to my rescue, and it's just me and there's no help. And when I thought it, this feeling just went through my body like a wave, and it was as if it took all my emotion away.
Wow.
And I remember vividly, like I still to this day remember that moment, and it was so significant because there's been infinite amount of times between then and now where I've thought back to that moment and wondered if that feeling was ever going to come back. And it became so normal to me that I thought that maybe everyone goes through it. Like maybe that's just part of maturity, or maybe that's how people grow up and that's how people live their lives.
Do you mean the feeling of aloneness? Like it's just me? When you say maybe it's maturity and maybe this is just growing up.
Aloneness, but it's more like it took the joy out of my life.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah. It took the joy out of my life. And it's not like I was sad my whole life, but it was just careless, I think was the main thing that my friends told me.
That you were careless.
Just careless.
Yeah, didn't care.
Yeah, and I think like they didn't really realize how careless I was until I didn't care about them. And I remember this one conversation I had with a friend who he said to me, he's like, oh, I get you now. And I was like, what? He's like, you just don't give a fuck, eh? Sorry about my language, but that's what he said to me, and I was like, no.
With your don't give a fuck attitude? No.
Yeah, like I was like, whatever. And it was so like that. I think that moment I realized how much I don't care, and I just embraced it. And so everything I done, I played sports and everything, and I still socialized and stuff. But if something happened, it was welcome to happen. Like if I got into a fight or like relationships ended, I was like, all right, well,
I don't care.
Carry on.
It sounds quite dangerous. It could be quite reckless living if you don't care about the outcome.
It's not like I was stupid or like a troubled child or anything. It was just like numb, blank.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
that's quite big.
It is,
to feel that way.
I think the worst part of it though was that it gave me a filter of carelessness, and so I never had a vision for my life. I didn't care for a career or education or relationships because it was going to end at some point.
Wow.
Just like that moment when God wasn't there for me and my dad wasn't there for me.
Yep.
That all came back, and that I keep going back to that moment. So that's how I've lived my life.
Wow. And I guess for you to have that reflection, it would mean that something has changed.
Yeah.
So what has changed for you?
Back to that moment last year when I was sitting with Harriet, my fiance, and we're just sitting out at the beach, just chilling, talking, and I was sitting there, I was looking around, I was like, has the world always been this beautiful? And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, has the color been so bright? And I just couldn't figure it out, like, why things had changed.
It's like,
and that's when I realized, I was like, the feelings come back, like from when I was a kid. It's the first time I felt not numb, like, oh, there's joy, like joy has come back and I can be happy again. So that was a great weekend for me. Another thing that she said to me was, like just in different conversations as we were talking about life and everything, she said, and this is because I kept, my partner's probably the happiest person I've ever met. Just all the time, just finds joy in everything and loves life and beauty. And I said to her, like I kept kind of bringing her happiness down because that was my filter.
Yeah. I'm sure lots of people can relate to that.
Yeah. Like you kind of put your beliefs on other people.
Yeah. Or it's not, I just want you to be where I'm at.
Yeah. And I think for me, that's a safety thing.
Of course.
Like you put up a shield so that you can't get hurt.
Yeah. Or you won't be challenged because you might get hurt.
Yeah. And so she said to me that happiness is infinite. And when I heard that, I questioned it and I doubted it and then I rejected it and I thought about it and I was like, maybe it is infinite. Maybe you can be happy and you can be happy forever, and it's only determined by how happy you want to be.
That's a massive moment, because in that moment what you're doing is you're actually completely 180, like you're doing a 180 degree of your internal beliefs system. Yeah. And it's like that's all that it takes is the choice to look at something differently.
It is, yeah. You have to be willing to step out and be vulnerable and change your own thought patterns.
Yep, and take accountability.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier if you're willing to listen. Like if someone's going through any mental health issues or depression, the best thing you can do is listen to the people close to you, because they'll tell you constantly, but your mind will constantly reject it and reword what they're saying.
It's like the mind is such a powerful thing, and I think we have such inbuilt like care factors within us of when I must keep you safe. I must keep you safe. So if anything is perceived as a threat, it is, I'm going to shut it down.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm not going there, because that means I might have to make myself vulnerable.
Yeah.
I might have to expose myself.
It's scary.
It's so scary.
It's so scary.
Especially on that side of it.
Yeah.
It's so scary. And then as you're going through it, it's like, oh, well, I'm in it and it's hard, but it's like no different to me before. Like I'm still here.
Yeah.
And on the other side, it's great.
Yeah. It's like the rewards are definitely worth the risk. Like my life since then has changed, and because I am a coach and I know how to coach other people, I just applied all the coaching to myself from that day on, and I just re-looked at my filters and understood my mind a bit better and my spirit and my vision for myself, and I kind of just went through everything again with a different filter of happiness is infinite.
How amazing.
I have joy in my life, and like little things like social interactions where I would start a conversation with someone and then kind of shut it down and, you know, don't let it develop.
Like no, enough's now.
In work, like with my career and stuff as a PC, it's like, it wasn't really bothered to push myself, and even like every time I did, I would stop it.
Wow.
I was just like, I don't know, like bad attitude and.
Yeah, it's almost like a self-sabotage. Sounds like self-sabotage. Like, you know, the voice that I recognize within myself that self-sabotage is, who are you to think that you can be great?
Yeah.
It's like, who are you to think that you can be important?
Yeah.
Then it's like, that feels bad.
It's so crap.
It is so crap.
It's such a human thing though, and like I think a lot of people think that that's not for them. Like,
I know.
I don't do that.
I know.
That's what happens, and they won't even realize it.
And I think we're not taught to unpack that as well and be like, but why is that not for you? Because we're not given space or the tools to deeply sit with ourselves and recognize, but what is it that I really want to do?
Yeah.
Because that moment came to me with these, like with the cameras and doing the filming and the work that I do. This only happened because I was brave enough to go on the inquiry of, but what is it that my heart truly wants to do?
Yeah.
And I did that every morning for maybe a week. But then the fear voice was like, what, who are you to be so like, think that you can do that?
Yeah.
That is like crazy. But then I just thought, well, who am I not to?
Yeah. Exactly.
And what if I don't? So it's like taking...
No one said Oprah could, no one said Dwayne Johnson could, no one said Kevin Hart could.
And I think that's a real moment, hey, of like removing the lens of just like, it's so unconscious, I think, of that, oh no, like you just don't even think about it.
Yeah. It's one decision. Like everyone is one decision away from a completely different future.
I know.
And I say this to myself quite a lot, like just in my head, I'll just kind of challenge myself and hype myself up. And it's always just 1 second, one thought, one feeling could change everything.
It's just, we've been talking about this, actions and consequences, haven't we?
Yeah.
A lot. I keep raving on about it to these guys. What was the decision that you made, like that precursor moment to you sitting on the beach and having that experience of joy? So how did you get to that place?
What was the decision I made?
Well, because we were just talking about like you're just one decision away or one choice away. You went from feeling numb and not experiencing joy to having that moment on the beach. And I guess the question is, what was the precursor for you to be able to experience that emotion?
I just realized that I didn't have to look through the lens of depression anymore.
Wow.
And I was like, well, what does that life look like if I don't look like, what if I put on a different lens? Because right now there's not depression, and I can pick something to put in front of me.
Oh no.
And I put $1 billion in front of me. I was like, what does that mean? How do I put $1 billion? And I started researching like billionaires and
wow.
a lot of the richest people and investors, and listened to them and like put in work and a lot of study and podcasting and self-education, because I wanted to know what their filter was like, what their lens is, what their why is, what drives them, the things that they do during the day.
And what
like,
did you
what makes
learn?
them different. What did I learn? I learned that they just make better decisions. Like it's all just from their thoughts. Like they just, consistent is the biggest thing.
Right, consistency.
There's this, I think it's like a Chinese word or proverb or whatever it is, but it's called Kaizen.
Okay.
And it's about just like doing little things all the time, or there's like a domino effect, or Will Smith talks about it a lot, about
It's so true.
Have you heard Will Smith's story that he tells about his father told him and his brother, they owned a shop, and his father just knocked down the wall, and then he told them to build the wall up, and they were like, we don't know how to build the wall. He said, just start with one brick.
Yep.
And so they put the first brick down, covered it, and then say, now what? Do the next brick.
Yeah.
The next one. Do the next one.
Yeah.
And eventually you get to the wall. Like you build the wall, but the wall doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen with a wall.
Yeah, you don't start with the wall.
I think that's what a lot of people, they look at the wall and they just give up.
Yeah.
They go, I can't make a wall.
Yeah.
But that's not how a wall's built. And I actually apply, that's the mentality that I apply actually to my life. I don't have a huge, big, didn't start with like, I'm going to have, this. I was just like, well, if I make this choice, then I'm one step closer. And it's just, rather than getting overwhelmed with the vision, it's like, but what can I do? Like, what's one thing I can do today? And I think I always love that quote. And this is for me, it's not for other people because we're all different, but slow and steady wins the race. Like that is so my mantra of just showing up, doing something.
Self-discipline is a big thing.
Yeah, it is a big one.
I think people get confused with discipline.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, I need to be disciplined. And like you look at the top athletes in the world, like some of the top athletes are supposedly the most disciplined people in the world because they turn up and they're the most, the best performers and they're at the top of their game. But you take them out of that environment where they're being paid $1 million and they have coaches and trainers and teammates that are pushing. You take them out of that environment and test their discipline, and a lot of them fall off the wagon.
Wow.
Like especially in the NRL and rugby league, it's a big thing where they finish their career or they get injured.
I know.
And they don't have the discipline to push themselves anymore. They lose their vision and they lose their lifestyle. What do I do without rugby league?
Because so much of their identity seems to be connected to that thing of being revered. Like, you are a huge star if you play in the NFL and NRL, sorry. Yeah. And what must it be like to have that taken away from you? Like you'd have to do some pretty serious self-reflection.
Yeah.
And addressing the ego and going, well, how could I show up in the world if this isn't how I'm showing up as? And one of the words that you mentioned that was also a little, not a trigger point for me, but just grabbed me, was you used the word identity.
Yeah.
And I was curious about, where you sit at the moment in regards to your identity versus, years before.
What is my identity?
Yeah, I think one of the things you said, you were just like, I've just done a couple of years of like really sitting with understanding more about myself and my identity. And I think the reason why I want to talk about it is because a lot of people say like, I don't know who I am. Like, I feel like I should know who I am, but I don't know who I am.
That's a hard question to answer. Because I feel like your identity is like water. Like you'll just keep changing, like every wave that hits, you're just going to keep pushing and moving and flowing. But like you got to find the things that are consistent in your life and find the things that keep you grounded and find the things that make you happy.
Yes.
And so for me, it's like I'm a father, I'm a partner, I'm a coach, I'm a son. And those things that I hold close to my heart and I pray on it every day and I meditate on every single day. Like I think about those things and it just helps me to know my identity. But even then, it's like if I do it once, that's one brick.
Yes.
Do it again, that's another brick. By the time I get to a wall, it's going to be this beautiful mural of my life.
Oh, so cool.
And I think that's the only time you kind of know your identity is when it's all over.
At the end. And go, the tapestry.
Yeah.
I've just woven like this cloth and I can look back and see the bright colours and the dark colours. That's such a beautiful way of looking at it.
But otherwise I think it's people tend to get attached to their current identity. Like this is who I am, and then one thing changes and they lose their identity and they lose what they're doing and why they're doing it.
I think it can be tied up a lot in people's career. I know I relate to that a lot because I had I was in quite a high pressure job and it gave me such a sense of self-worth and belonging. And it was quite hard to move away from that because I thought, well, if I do, then what am I? Like, am I worth anything if I'm not achieving and making money? So that was a big decision to leave. And then I love that you used the word river and flow because it was a real moving of the masculine way, which was pushing and driving and action and results, to having to learn to soften, create space, get in touch with my intuition again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like knowing your character. Like things like a career change will really test your character. And even though the jobs change, it doesn't mean you're not a hard worker anymore. It doesn't mean you can't be disciplined anymore. Like all those things are part of you. It's not part of the job. That's just what you bring to your job.
It brings out, each job brings out different traits in you.
But if you're a hard worker, then it doesn't matter if you're working in a corporate space or in a gym, or if you're just at home playing PlayStation. It's
cool. It's like not to take away from anyone's method of consistency. And I think I'm seeing connections. You guys see the connections with what he's saying, with what Taryn was saying about prayer, meditation, the little actions that you make every day. Those little consistencies all add up. And I'm such a believer, because you feel the effect.
Yeah.
Like you get the results. Man. It's real.
I think
it's such a weird thing.
But for men especially, I think it's a hard thing to sit and meditate.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
I think there's a lot of ego around meditation, like it's a soft thing, or like if you can't meditate, there's it means you're scared of yourself. Like you're scared of your thoughts, and you can't sit with. Like I could sit with you for hours and just talk. But then can I sit with myself and talk? Like, do I like myself enough? Do I love myself enough?
Wow.
To really dig deep and think about those things.
Yeah, and I think I imagine a lot of thoughts come up of like, oh, it's just not for me, and like, why would I want to do that? And it's like a girly thing, or I don't know, but I imagine
it's also the teething process. Like if the first time you meditate, guaranteed everyone's going to go through. You're going to sit there.
That's the worst.
And a million thoughts are going to come. Like,
I can't do it.
Everything that you can think of will hit you. And it'll seem like a distraction. But I mean, you can just pick one of those thoughts and just sit with it. Like that's your time when you can sit with those thoughts. Because if you're at work and you're trying to gather your thoughts and gather yourself, you don't have the space and time to really see the quality of what your thoughts are.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Because before you know it, another thought's going to come in, and another thought's going to come in, and you're going to be doing another thing.
And almost not even aware that, like, what the actual thought is and how negative it can be.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's quite a skill to learn how to catch it and be like, what did I just say?
Yeah.
So if you could say because you talked about men, potentially struggling to meditate or having a bit of a block to it, what have you gained from meditating?
Time and space is the biggest thing.
Oh my God.
Exact words.
This is so weird.
I've been sitting in the hallway for
listening. We had a really weird moment in the last, he just got me with saying, he said, he flipped it, he said space and time. And I was like, well, I just had a whoa moment. So sorry just to take that away, cool. Because
it's real.
It's so real.
Most people don't give themselves time and space. Most people would rather distract themselves, and any free time and space you do have, it's flip the phone out. See what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, distract.
Because it puts you in like an autopilot.
Yeah.
Put you in autopilot where you don't have to deal with things anymore.
I have to deal with my feelings.
Like that's a habit. That's a habit to numb yourself to, like to go on autopilot. Like like in Māori culture they hongi when they welcome people in.
Yes.
And what I learned a couple of weeks ago was when you hongi, you connect the forehead, the third eye, and the nose. And so you're connecting your vision and you're connecting your breath, and you take one breath in with each other and then you exhale together. And you share that breath and you share that moment of life together, and it kind of just connects you a bit better.
Yeah, it's really incredible. Such a beautiful thing to share, the essence of life,
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Do you have, this might be a weird question, but I think you are going to be able to answer it. So do you have any heroes?
I got it. I mean, this is probably the most obvious one is Dwayne Johnson.
Why is that so obvious?
Because he's
he's the
most
man.
famous person in the world.
No, I don't think that's like necessarily obvious. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Cool. Tell me about what it is about him that inspires you.
He's just a good man. Like in my opinion, he's the ideal, like what men should strive to be like. Like he's got the physique of a man and the courage and the strength and all those things, but he also has like the empathy of like that feminine energy.
He does, doesn't he?
And he's got
that
like connection
softness.
and he cares and he loves, and you can see it in like how he interacts with people.
Yeah.
Where
And
you
he's
see
funny.
a lot of other celebrities like, oh hey, yeah, high fives and they do their bit. Whereas, you watch him talk to people and he's like eye contact and it's as if he's talking to his daughter or
Fully present.
Yeah.
We just had another moment. Did you recognise that? We're getting lots of, this is so cool. The last, person that we spoke to talked a lot about, I think he was just talking about masculine culture and like how powerful it is just to sit with someone and have eye contact and have that moment of connection, of just looking into someone's eyes and just being present with them. It's the little thing. It's the little things.
I remember when I was in school though, like if you looked at like as in Polynesian culture, when I was growing up, if you looked at someone's eyes, like especially man to man, it was almost threatening.
Yeah, like bring it.
Yeah, like what are you looking at?
So why do you think that is? If like in Polynesian culture, when you're younger, if you look at somebody in the eyes, it would be like a challenge or a threat maybe.
It genuinely just felt like it. It's not like I thought about it. And this was from me, and I know it definitely happened with other people.
Yeah.
Or like, people with the same age, like if you're a teenage boy and you're walking around the streets and another teenage boy is walking past and you make eye contact, sometimes there's like a funny energy. And that's, looking back now, I would say that's just the filter that you have on again.
Yeah.
Like your filter, your why, what you think about most in your subconscious.
It's such a huge, big thing.
Yeah, and I think it's just like if that filter is, I'm the man, I'm the strongest, I'm the toughest.
Yeah.
And you look at someone and they make eye contact with you, it's them saying that they're the toughest, which isn't necessarily the case, but that's what you would think because that's your filter. So it's like everyone thinks that.
Can I tell you something really funny?
Always.
Thank you. As a young girl, take it back. As a woman, when I walk down the street, I'd never look a man in the eye because the thing behind it would be like, no, because that means that you're letting them like think that you're available like you're up, like you're keen. Like what a weird thing to think.
That's not your fault though. That's
a society. I think it's a societal thing.
Yeah, that's masculine energy. That's ego. That's just conditioning and
it is.
The culture that we're in.
It's an important thing I think to talk about. I'm making myself vulnerable talking about it, but it's such a scary thing to walk down the street, particularly if there's a group, because then you're just like, oh my god, this is so awkward, and like look at the ground, and then oftentimes like they say something is said, and then it just reinforces like, and I'd be like, I'm still learning to embrace the full power of my femininity. I think, imagine if I was a badass and I just walked down the street and like fully connected with their eyes, like what would actually happen? I don't know. I'd be scared to think about it, but I think, just hearing you talk about your experience when you were younger, it just made me recognize that I actually do that now.
Yeah, that's scary. And it sucks that that's part of the world that we live in.
Yeah, I know.
That women are scared because, like, we're all humans.
I know.
As men, we should be the one protecting our women and championing our women and making them feel beautiful and safe and secure.
My little heart's like,
that.
Yes. It just makes me feel so happy to hear that, because you don't get to feel that a lot as a woman. It makes me feel emotional, like even talking about it. But that's why I just look up to the work that Richie Hardcore does so much. Because I just feel like, oh my God, he's like weird because he's a male. He's like leading this charge on a different way of being masculine. Which makes me feel so safe and heard and
he's
seen.
A beautiful man.
He is. Sorry, I'm just like having a moment. It just got me. Got me in my feels. And hearing you talk about, that's our role as men, is to protect our women and make them feel beautiful, and then that's all, I want as a female, is to feel safe.
And imagine what the world would look like if every man had that filter on, that It's their job to protect and strengthen the family, and make sure the woman in your life, and that your children felt safe and secure all the time. Like the power that gives them to be the purest version of themselves.
It's actually incredible, and I think only through being with an empowered masculine person have I understood so much more about that. And yes, it would be incredibly, it would create huge change.
Goals. Hopefully, like something I said, someone hears it and it creates a thought, and that thought creates a feeling, and that feeling inspires them to take action. Maybe they change one thing, maybe they tell their wife that they love them, maybe she embarks on that career that she's been thinking about, maybe someone does something courageous, they take action, and then that action sparks a whole new lifestyle for them, and they inspire another person.
Yeah, you really touched on something for me, while I've been sitting here listening to you. And we didn't mic up the guy. He wasn't mic'd when he just left, but one of the last thing that he said, which I think was quite powerful, which is exactly what you're saying too, is setting an intention for every single moment. So he calls it an intention, and I think you call it a why. So what's my why behind it? And so his thing is, when I go into this, like, what's my intention? When I go to have my workout, what's the intention? When I go to have lunch with somebody, what's my intention? So you're fully present and conscious with your being and your life.
Yeah, it's so important.
So
not
important.
Just being conscious, being woke.
Yeah,
and like just caring about yourself, and monitoring your thoughts is a big thing, because your thoughts will run wild and things will pop into your head, and then you think the wrong thought and you get the wrong feeling and you get inspired to take the wrong action way too often.
Yeah.
Whereas if you chose your thoughts,
I know,
you could choose good thoughts, like I want to make $1 billion instead of being depressed.
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah. Why would I choose anything else?
I also think a powerful thing is, if you're going into things and thinking about your whys and questioning and becoming aware of your thoughts, then when you go to do something automatic, which a lot of the time people do, so they might stay in a relationship that's toxic, or they might respond to a friend that's toxic. If you question your intention or your why, you might suddenly realize, it's not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
Like why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And the idea of it is so outdated, but I'm still rerunning the same old show. Yeah,
there's this old philosopher, his name's Ice Cube.
Took me like a second. I was like, Ice Cube.
He has this line in one of his songs: check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Check yourself before you really wreck yourself.
And if you do daily check-ins, like if you sit with your thoughts every morning, you just sit there for 5 minutes and think about who you are and what you want from this world and in this life, then it's easy to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of being 3 years into it, you're like, oh well, this is my life now.
Yeah, break it down. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people don't do that. They're already 3 years deep, and then they're like, oh my gosh, like there's no way out. Yeah, there is any moment. Yeah. You talked about not feeling that joy. It would have been years and years and years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you had a moment.
It takes a moment. But I think if you haven't had that moment yet, you can have that moment now. Right now, you could just take a second and just take a deep breath, and then think about what you want, and just select a really good, like the best possible thought that you could possibly ever have.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
And meditate on that one thought, and then hopefully that creates feelings and it inspires you to take action, and those actions will be more aligned with your goals and what you want to achieve and what you want out of this life.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah.
You ready? I want to be really healthy. I want to be, and I am, really healthy, vibrant, and well.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, that's my one.
How do you achieve that?
How do I achieve that? By showing up for myself every day, not forgetting my why, my intention. By reframing the fearful thoughts, which are, I'm not well, there's something wrong with me, which is my narrative a lot of the time.
What's a better thought? What's a better...
Yeah, which is I am healthy and well.
Yeah.
I'm thriving, I'm vibrant, I'm flourishing, and recognizing that I have the power to make a change, like at any point. And I think even if I was 60 to 70, 80, any moment I have the power to take that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you attach that thought to something that you already do. Mm-hmm. Like maybe it's your alarm going off, or maybe it's breakfast. Like before you have breakfast, you just go through that thought pattern every single day, and then
On my walk that I'm doing, remember when we talked about, I've got a new practice, guys, and I'm going for a walk every morning at 7:45. Might sound like a really easy thing, but I've had to work to get to this place. And I think on that walk, I'm going to be saying to myself, which I think I even did this morning, I'm healthy, I'm well, I'm flourishing, I'm radiant, I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm alive.
You are alive.
Woohoo! This has been so cool for me because I've had an opportunity to feel like the coach has been coached. It's been really nice to have that experience. You've brought a really different energy, actually, and it's such a pleasure to be around. You've got a really, it's contagious.
Yeah. I hope so.
Well, look what you just did for me.
I'm trying really hard.
Yeah, well, good on you, Mr. Billionaire.
Can't be a billionaire and an asshole.
Yeah. I'm sure there's enough of those to go around. But thank you for sharing. It's been so refreshing. I feel really energized.
I feel refreshed. It's good to talk about these things and have people that want to know about it. Is a really cool thing. It's a really nice thing.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Bring it in.